Hi there guys, welcome back. So Ireland come away with a really good win at home, 31-16. In the end it was very dominant, they were absolutely value for their win. Scotland had a purple patch where they looked excellent, but apart from that they were actually completely battered up front, lost the gain line, gave away silly penalties and will be very disappointed with their overall performance. So in the first half, the first 5 minutes, actually Ireland are looking pretty good at the breakdown, Scotland giving away some penalties there, and Sexton misses a poor penalty. It wasn't a gimme, but he should have got it to give them the early lead. And actually from that point, it's then Scotland who start to take the ascendancy for the next 30 minutes of the first half. They've come to play, they're moving the ball. Van der Vaart looks dangerous, Hogg, Harris, Taylor, Van der Merwe, they're all starting to make breaks. And Van der Vaart hits the post with his first penalty, so again a miss apiece. But then he actually gets his next penalty over, it's a turnover penalty and it's 3-0 to Scotland. And the centres are getting over the gain line, Harris, Taylor looking good. And Scotland's attack is really starting to cut loose and they're definitely looking a lot more dangerous than Ireland at this point. And then at 15 minutes they start compounding their errors to Ireland. An awful overthrow from Herring and Scotland are 10 metres out, and luckily for Ireland there's actually a couple of knock-ons that relieve the pressure. But then they get another penalty, I believe it's off a scrum this time, 6-0 to Scotland. So really good start to Scotland after a promising first couple of minutes for Ireland. They're 6-0 up. Then on 21 minutes, quite a long range penalty for Sexton, but he does manage to get this one. It was a silly no arms tackle from Brown, so that gave Sexton that shot, so it's 3-6. And at this period of the game, in the 20 to 30 minutes, Scotland's attack was the best I've seen it for a long time. They're running the ball, they're passing the ball, they're alternating between Van der Vaart and Hogg as the first receiver, both dangerous either passing or running. I can see why they've tried to get Van der Vaart into the team. Whatever you think of a project player, he is more dangerous than Weir, equally as dangerous as a runner. Anyway, they actually gained a very easy penalty off this because their attack's so good, and it goes to 9-3, and it's really starting to look a little ominous for Ireland. Scotland are winning almost every area, even the tactical kicking game. But then on 30 minutes, Ireland suddenly spring into life. Their first good attack, really good flow, much more danger. And Taylor feels he has to come in and make that the old deliberate knock on where he's trying to make it look like a tackle, but everybody knows what they're doing. And he gives away a yellow. Not good at all for Scotland. It's 6-9 at that point from the penalty, and then it's all Ireland from then on because the extra man and they've started to get their attacking game finally into gear, and they do get a try. Clever little chip into the dead ball area. Good chase from Henshaw, I think, bobbles about. Earls gets the touchdown. Sexton should have converted as well. That's another bad miss. 11-9. So really, after Scotland looking so dominant for most of that half, Ireland will be thrilled to go up, the yellow card really costing them, and the game is very nicely balanced. Into the second half, good news for Ireland is they continue their dominance, powering over the gain line, gradually edging Scotland back, looking unstoppable, and it's a classic green machine try on 43 minutes. That's a phrase I used in Joe Smith's side, where they would just go forward and forward and forward, and it would almost be inevitable that they scored. It goes to 18-9, terrible start for Scotland on 43 minutes there. And then again on 47 minutes, same again. Ireland are imposing their game on Scotland. Physically, they're battering them. The likes of Doris consistently making ground. I mean, the guy's a young player and he's already starting to physically dominate some sides. In this case, Scotland against England, he wasn't quite so dominant, but in this case, very good. Sexton gets the penalty, turns down easy points, as Ireland consistently do. Now in this game, every time they turned down points, they ended up either scoring a try or getting a penalty straight afterwards. But I'm still not sure if they want to get serious about World Cups, they can turn down absolutely gift 3 points. Let me know what you think about that. But anyway, it does result in a try for Earls, side to side ball movement, and Earls scores in the corner. Good finish, nice touchline conversion, 25-9. It really looks like it's game over. But then on 54 minutes, Scotland have done nothing for about half an hour, and the Irish defence is looking very physical, pushing Scotland back even when they're attacking. But Van der Merwe picks and goes through a ruck and then sprints 30 metres on an angle to finish. Great try, absolutely brilliant. Try from nothing, gets them back to within 9 points, 25-16. But, you know, it's against the run of play, and indeed from then on in, Scotland really don't show like scoring again. But, you know, impressive from Van der Merwe. What a danger he is. On 59 minutes, Stockdale actually skews a kick off the outside of his foot that actually nearly puts Earls in the corner. But then a very nice turnover penalty from Brown, and it's quite funny. They get another penalty, tap, quick go, get another penalty, and actually Scotland get right back into Ireland's 22 themselves in about 30 seconds, but they don't score from it. And then a silly, needless obstruction penalty from Scotland. They did give away a couple of very poor penalties, which is the other thing apart from the physicality that's going to seriously disappoint them. Ireland go 10 metre line out. Sexton again completely allergic for taking 3 points. And so they go through the phases, runner off 9. It's not that inventive. It's classic green machine, but it is effective. And eventually they earn a much easier penalty, slot it over. 28-16, game's just stretching away from Scotland, not long to go now. It keeps getting worse. The Irish managed to dominate Scotland in the scrum, even when all the changes are made in the front row. They link together a huge multi-phase attack, and you think Omani is in the corner, in acres of space, but he runs so slow. It's slow motion running. Poor lad, it's not his fault, he's getting older. Gets actually pushed into touch just, but goodness me, if you're going to leave a player in the wide channel, you need to leave, you know, a quick back row forward in the wide channel if you're going to do that. So don't blame him because he was in that position in the system. But anyway, no try. It was penalty advantage anyway, so doesn't matter. The game's won. They get 31-16, and that's how it finishes. And Ireland's power game was just far too good for Scotland. Is it enough to beat a big team? Well, not sure. England have shown in the past that no. So, you know, the positive for Ireland is it definitely worked, beating Scotland very nicely. They're just going to have to do a little bit more, though, I think, to beat one of those big teams. But anyway, in this game, you can't complain. And Scotland were a bit embarrassed, to be honest, because after showing what they could do in attack, when Ireland finally stepped up physically, Scotland were battered. Humiliating, really, in that respect. And I think they thought they were past it. I kind of thought that, you know, with the likes of Sutherland, Kebble, Cummings, they were a bit past that sort of complete domination, but no, many of you guys who commented before saying no, Scotland still are vulnerable in that area. Well, you're absolutely right. They will go back to the drawing board, and it's a tough blow to take, because I think they thought they'd kind of sorted that. Anyway, interesting, both sides kind of reverting to a bit of type. Scotland being, you know, stereotypical, really. Scotland being very good in attack but not having enough up front and physically. Ireland dominating physically but being a little one-dimensional in attack. So I don't know, are they going back to where they were, or is it just a one-off game? Let me know what you read into that game, who you thought was impressive. You know, one player from each side. I picked out Van der Merwe for Scotland and Doris for Ireland, but there were plenty of other good performances on the Irish side once they stepped it up. And again, is it a little worrying for Ireland that it took a good half an hour for them to wake up, and if it takes that long against a better team, maybe they can't come back? So lots to talk about. I found that an interesting game, probably the most interesting game of the competition so far. Let me know what you think, and I will catch you next time.